time to read, but now I'd had time to read and it was great. So I came out onto the street and I thought, hey, maybe I should get arrested again. Actually, I got arrested I don't even know how many times, but between 50 and 75 times. But only once held in the prison. Otherwise, they just write you a ticket and then you come the next day to the court. Thank you. Oh, yes, sir.
Hi, I have a question. So, if you're in a working environment like I am, where I'm a teacher, so we have our breaks. So then a lot of my colleagues, like the area we sit in, like they smoke, and obviously like that's not a good environment to be in.
Right.
But how do you then, I want to say, avoid that without them feeling like you judging them in a way?
Right. Yes, well, you should try avoiding such situations, particularly with other people. One should try and do it as nicely as reasonably possible. But ultimately, one should do it. Because if you're sitting there breathing in smoke, what do they call it? Passive smoking or something? You may actually get lung cancer, even though you may not smoke at all, like deliberately yourself. So it's important. We would sometimes, with all respect due, however much that is, we would meet born-again Christians in the streets of London, particularly. These people, they're intense. They're really, really intense. They want to save you and bathe you in the blood. I'd rather not. So we would try to avoid them. They would try to engage us in a debate, really fiercely. But we developed a strategy. I mean, you could say there's an element of dishonesty in it, in a sense. Not really, but you might say, as soon as we realized, it's one of them, and it's just going to be a waste of time, and it'll make him angry, and it'll upset me also. So we developed this strategy. We'd look at our watch. Oh, look, important appointment. I have to go. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. And off we go. Because we did have an important appointment with the next person we want to distribute a book to, you could say. One thing you could consider at least, you could tell them that it may be, again, sort of like, some could say it's not totally honest, but it's kind of marginal, actually. You could tell them, my doctor told me that breathing in the smoke, I am in danger, that, there are symptoms or something like that. Seriously, I'm not kidding. And, so I'm just so sorry, if you don't mind, I'm going to go outside and something like that. You'd have to do something like that. Otherwise, it's a fact it may shorten your life by, if not like, your heavy smokers, like 10 years or 20 years, but it may shorten your life by a year or two. Wouldn't be surprising at all. But you need to use your intelligence, how to say something which, they'll feel, oh, okay, they'll be willing to excuse you. Maybe you could say maybe you are doing some postgraduate study, and so you have some project you have to work on, and you just don't have time. Tell them something like that, so, I'm so sorry. I've got to take every minute I've got to work on my project. You get the idea? Okay. Those couple of ideas, I'm sure there's plenty of other ideas. Okay. Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I wanted to ask a question. Sometimes when you're distributing books, there can be a need of, people need this book. But I came to also the realization, actually, I need these books more than the people I'm giving it to. And so my question is how to increase that desperation that I need to wake up and chant. I need to go see the devotees. I need all these things that Sri Prabhupada is offering,
Right.
but also encouraging those who have also signed up for the program that come, let's do this thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you've got to have a sufficient depth of conviction or realization, you could say, of the value, the benefit of reading the books. You get the idea? You have to actually have, enough understanding or realization that if I don't read these books, my mind's going to sort of drift off, and I'm not going to really make progress in this, which is like my calling in life. This is what I want to do with my life. But now I don't feel convinced enough about this, this element in the whole picture of Krishna consciousness, which you've been told is so valuable, so important, and it must be done, etc. So, you could, a few things. One valuable thing you could do, you could pray to Krishna. Please give me more realization. Please help me to understand further the value of studying these books. And if you pray to Krishna from the heart, he will give you realization, more and more understanding. And, after a little while, you'll sit up and you'll realize, hey, I really need to read, and I am going to read. You really get a genuine feeling of just like it's an emergency or it's urgent. It's urgent. But at the same time, you should read the books. Even if the mind, what I did? It was way back, 75, 76 particularly. I was doing full-time book distribution in UK and Ireland. And, like I had been temple commander. I was taking rest at 10:30, getting up at 3:30 every day, 5 hours of sleep only, and nothing during the day at all, because it was hectic. And on book distribution, we were traveling around. We had the same program, 5 hours sleep. So I would finish my rounds early in the morning and read. But you know what happened? I would sit down with a book. Next thing that I would find was happening was I was waking up. If you get the idea. In other words, I had fallen asleep. Yeah. I wanted to read, but I was just so fatigued. I just spontaneously fell asleep. So what I did, and it's just what I did, but for me it really worked. I started taking notes while I was reading and compiling the notes by alphabetical order in terms of subject, like chanting goes under C, for chanting like that. And I built up what a store of notes over a couple of years. And you know what? I still have them. And I use them because they're under different headings. So, for whatever reason, I don't know, but I had to give a lot of classes and presentations. So look at what I have to give a class on. Okay, it's on this and this. Go to the notes and look, all these statements from Scripture. So it really helped, but I'll tell you what it did first and foremost, it kept me awake. I didn't fall asleep. So that's a suggestion. You could do that. It'll deepen your appreciation for the value of the books. Yeah. And so therefore to read them, to study them, it'll become natural. Not like, oh, I'm meant to read. Oh, well, I've got to read. Is that okay? Okay, I think our 15 minutes is up. So, okay, thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki jai. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for such an amazing class. I always think to myself, Maharaj is such a master at storytelling and delivering pastimes of the Lord, and they are so sweet. And Maharaj has such an amazing sense of humor. I'm sure that all of us can agree upon. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for such an amazing class. Devotees, we'll now move on to Guru Puja, so if we can all rise for that. Maharaj.